Let's hope that Ashby-Hammond did not read social media this weekend following that Lincoln game because it wasn't very kind to him, but is it deserved? Welcome back to where Pilgrims walk. It's 20 minutes of Argyle chat, and we're reviewing that 4-1 loss to Lincoln at home, and some fans are saying relegation is now peering at us in the face again. Is that too reactive? We're going to get Chris and Reese's review of the game and their reaction to some head losses on social media. Hope you're well. Give us a sub and a like if you haven't yet found the channel. We'd really love making this content for you. Here we go. Are you ready for very, very negative 10 minutes of social media content, Chris? Here we go. Not much to cheer about this week. Charles says, I refuse to believe that Ashby-Hammond was considered a good signing. There's no coincidence that we failed to win in each of the games that he started lately. Stick Pilgrim Pete in net, and I'd have more faith. I mean, I don't like digging players out, Chris, but we can't escape what the fans are talking about. Just how bad was it?
You can't escape it, Mark. I mean, he's a professional footballer, allegedly. He's our second choice goalkeeper, and he's very costly at mistakes. He's very good at his kicking, his distribution, etc. But goalkeepers, as we know, is all made up of different parts, and one of his parts is confidence. He's completely lacking any confidence, and he's devoid of giving the back four any confidence. Simple things like coming and claiming corners. They got their first goal, and I felt he could have done better at that one. That was a corner. But the third goal, he's flapped at it and punched it into his own goal. Well, you've got to try and deal with it. You've got to tip it over the bar. You've got to punch it out. You do everything but what he did. And it's just shocking. And the problem is, it's just not occasionally either. It's almost weekly. He makes a major mistake. And sometimes you get over it with a defender on the line. Bristol in the Virtue Trophy, he made a howler, done very, very similar, punched it in the net, or it went for his hands. But on Saturday, when you're playing Lincoln at home, you're going 1-0 up against a decent side. As we have done now, we've just gone 3 games now, 1-0 up. And out of those 9 points, we've got 1 point because we haven't managed to win any of them. But yeah, Luca, it really is a struggle for him. I mean, Connor Hazard, I'm not going to say is a great goalkeeper, not in my eyes, but he's better. He is better than what Luca is, unfortunately. I was wishing Luca would come on and do something decent and keep Connor out. But no, he's so costly that the players must be looking at him and thinking, flipping out, what are we going to do here? You know, because there's 2 big mistakes on his part, which led to goals. Certainly the third one killed us right off. Luca, will he play Paddy? I doubt it. I mean, we're going up to Blackpool. I understand they got the roller coaster, the big one up there. Well, we just had 90 minutes of that out Saturday. major 90 minutes. And our number 1 just wasn't up to it.
I mean, we should have seen this coming. Some fans say, Reese, Jamie says, you're telling me that the keeper who knocked it into his own net on his trial with us isn't a very good keeper? F me, who would have thought it? What's your take on it?
Well, yeah, exactly that. I mean, he did that. Well, sorry. He did that in wherever we were, in Switzerland or wherever we were, and he kicked into the back of the net on a German live stream that we were all watching, dodgy live stream we were watching. Kicked it into his own net under no pressure whatsoever and just gets it wildly wrong. And it's like, all right, it could have been the pitch, could have whatever. But then the thing, he then did it at Truro. He then made 2 massive mistakes against Truro and conceded 2 goals because of his mistakes. Why was alarm bells not going? This is a player who he has sat on benches for years at League One, mostly League Two level. He's only ever played National League. He's never played at a higher level, really. And we had a keeper at that point who was out injured and would be out injured for a couple of months for the start of the season. Why on earth did we go, yeah, that's a good idea? That's a phenomenal idea. How did we go from... it's just another thing that the board had done cheaply. It was the cheap option, so we'll go for him. And that's how it really feels. For me, you go for the cheap option, your third, and that's essentially what we've got at the moment with Zach Baker. Not saying he's a cheap option, but he's a youngster, so he's naturally cheaper, isn't he? You know, I'd much rather at the moment Zach Baker in goal and giving one of our young lads a chance. Much rather it. Now, he had an awful game where it crossed the line on Saturday was booing our own players. That's just mental. Like, his confidence is clearly on rock bottom. Give him the stick online, but don't boo him in the stadium. It doesn't help things. It doesn't help the atmosphere. It doesn't help anything. Especially at 2-1 when we're booing him. Then 3-1, it gets even worse. It's just, yeah, that wasn't needed. But yeah, he wasn't helped out at times by his defence. But my God, he could have helped his defence out as well.
Yeah. That leads us nicely onto this next point. Chris, the fourth line forward, says performance going backwards now. Poor keeping, but equally bad defensively. We weren't pressing enough. We didn't win enough second balls, and unfortunately, we are back now to not having players who can score. Was this a successful transfer window? Well, for who? Yeah, the doommongers are back out, Chris. But is it fair? Is it fair to comment all of this? I mean, we've now played 3 games, as you've said, and we've played 2 good sides, haven't we? In Stockport and Lincoln. Let's not be having it. I mean, that could be the playoff final. So do we need to balance it out a little bit?
Still 2 of those games were at home, Mark, and we've managed to come away with a point from the 2 games at home. It's not good enough, and we've got, I understand, the highest goal scoring rate against any team in the division at home. You know, that's poor. You know, that's got to be blame, got to go on someone's door. The back 4 on Saturday, they were poor, all of them, to a man. And I couldn't believe where we got a right-footed player, Wes Harding, coming in for his first game. He's playing left back. Now, he's a central defender or a right back. Why have we chose to put him left back? Jack McKenzie's a left back. He sat on the bench. Tom says, well, he didn't really want to start him on a first home game. Well, all we've heard about from Tom, cleverly, is how good he is in training and this and that. And we saw him up Stockport, didn't we? And he didn't do too bad. He came on, and I thought he can go on and make a claim for Saturday's place. No, he wasn't even in contention. We decided to put a right back in his position at left back. And he was at fault for the second goal, Wes Harding, without a shadow of doubt. He gave the ball to one of their players who put it out wide, put it back in, and the guy who Wes Harding was meant to be marking scored. Now, it's just disappointing when you get all 4 players, well, 5 players, including the keeper, all having a mare on the same time. Normally, you can cope with one player who has a bit of a stinker and you cover for him, etc., etc. But the back 4 plus the keeper 5, they all had a mare on Saturday. It was shocking. It was back to the September, October days of when we were watching Argyle. It really was. You come away really, really frustrated, especially with 1-0 up. And when you consider our best player went off after 45 minutes, he was the man of the match, Ben Pepple, of all people. And I'll take my hat off to Ben. He's now scored 4 out of 6 in 6 games. And we're going to miss him if he's not there. What with Laurent Tolai as well missing. What in our defence, and I don't mean playing defence, but in our defence, we had 8 players, 8 first-teamers out on Saturday. 7 was injured and 1 suspended. Now, that's going to affect any team. I don't care who they are, be it Cardiff, Lincoln, or Plymouth.
You also look at 7 starters or 7, 8 starters missing, but also those players that were available. I think we've got 4, maybe 5 who aren't fully fit yet, coming back from injury, who can't play a full 90. So your substitutes are straight away made up before the game even starts.
It's embarrassing, isn't it? And
Yeah.
we had, what's he called, Herbie Kane, who's a creative midfielder by all accounts. And he only came on for the last 10, 15, and you're thinking, bring him on earlier. Bring him on.
Apparently that's all he's fit for available for is 15 minutes on Saturday.
Really, is that what was quoted? Was it?
I believe so.
Yeah, that was
He's just come back from a long-term injury as well. We've got a team full of long-term injuries.
Well worth signing then, isn't it? In the January transfer. Forget the striker. Forget the striker. We're okay in that department. We got 3, albeit 2 of them were out injured. So we're relying on Ben Pepple, who's now got an injury himself. And yeah, so we'd go and get somebody in who's also injured as a creative midfielder. You just can't write the script, can you? Really, January transfer. Yeah, if you're injured, we'll have you.
Cheers for that, Chris. Reece, I want to ask you about a common pattern that some fans are starting to comment on now. Steve says, first half, not too bad. Second half, absolutely awful. This seems to be becoming a bit of a pattern for Argyle. What's happening to them at half time? What on earth is he telling them to do?
I don't know how well. I think it's partially a little bit of we're not fit. Their fitness is atrocious in this team. It has been probably since Schumacher left. Our current fitness coach is a graduate from somewhere, and I think it's one of his first jobs. For me, I don't understand why we haven't really looked into that area with all the injuries we're getting. Why are we not going and get a proper strength and conditioning coach? I will never know. I also think the other problem is we're so stuck in our way now. It's almost like Cleverly's gone, found a way of winning because we were on that winning streak. I'm going to just play that way. We've forgotten about a plan B, plan C, plan D. I think Lincoln. I think you've got to. I want to try and take it in isolation. Lincoln were the best team I think to come to home part this season, and I'm not saying football inside, but they wanted the ball. They were energetic. They were feisty. They were aggressive when they needed to be, and they were clinical in front of goal. So I want to try and take an isolation, but then you look at Stockport and you go, well, Stockport, we were the better team first half. But something changed at half time where I think Stockport changed I think they brought in 3 changes, and they were a different side. But we can't then adjust to something, another plan. And this is the problem: is we're coming against managers who experience and know the league, know their teams, and have plan Bs, plan Cs, plan whatever, and come up with something to stop us. And we can't stop ourselves. And it's really, I think that's where now we really need to see a change. I'm really hoping we can get back on going again. I'm hoping this doesn't seep into where it was earlier this season, where we go on a 10-game unbeaten run or whatever stupid it is now. But I really hope Blackpool or Leyton Orient, we can really kick it on again and sort of get the result that we want and get a good performance again. Because I think Stockport, we were left sort of frustrated that we had lost, but not frustrated with the performance as such. It was like, well, you know what? Sometimes you've got to put your hands up and say they're the Stockport over the better team almost. And we played well, but they were more clinical than us. You can almost accept those where you played well. Saturday, you can't accept that. You can't accept us rolling over like we did, and we made Lincoln look better than. Well, we had the better of them in the first 20 minutes, and then we decided to just change our tactic and just start hoofing it again.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, just a blip. Having come across two good teams, we did say February was going to be tough, didn't we? When we rolled into the month, and so it's turning out to be. No, let's not lose our heads. But Chris, some people are saying we are staring relegation back in the face if we lose to Blackpool. Do you agree?
Oh, we've got to be there or thereabouts, Mark. I mean, we all had hopes of getting in the playoffs. Well, we're 12 points away from those playoffs. I'll tell you what, we are close, though. We are close to relegation. We're 5 points off them. That's only a couple of wins for them and a couple of losses for us. You're down in amongst it. 5 points, that's all we are off the bottom 4. And there's teams below us who's played less games than us. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to be there. I certainly hope we don't be in the bottom 4, and I can't see it. But it's realistic that it could happen. Yeah, you say you only got to go on a bad run of 3 or 4 games, and you're right down in amongst it. Oh, we said we're close. 2 weeks ago, we're close to the playoffs, but we're also close to the relegation because the division was so tight. It's now opening up a bit, and to have 5 points of us in 16th away from 20th place. 20th place. It's mad. We could be down in amongst it. So we've got to be starting realistically to fight for every single point now.
Well, Blackpool this weekend. Then is it the big wedding this weekend, Reece? Is it? Have I got that right?
It is this weekend.
Okay,
Yeah, not mine.
right.
Not mine.
No,
but yes, unfortunately, I'm at a wedding on my phone for the afternoon.
Yeah, so big shout out to
that's Paul.
Is it Pete? Paul. Yeah, and Paul and his wife's name is
Liz.
There you go. Paul and Liz have a cracking day on Valentine's
Hopefully by
Day.
this time next week they're still together.
Brilliant. And of course, it is Valentine's Day, of course, on the Saturdays we play Blackpool. So, of course, we're asking the question, who was the first ever Argyle player?
Sorry, I will have to point out they're not getting married because of Valentine's Day. It just suits
Okay.
the Argyle fixtures.
Fair enough. Who's the first ever Argyle player you fell in love with? That's our question this week. Then, quickly though, rating the transfer window out of 10, Reese, 1 to 10. Now it's slammed shut.
Almost asked me again in a month's time, but on paper it should be like a 7. I think we probably still need a striker to make it like a really good one. I think we got experience that we needed, but as we said, one of them's injured and one of them didn't have a great debut. So I think ask me again in a month, but at the moment I'm around the middle mark.
Okay, 7. Any advance on 7, Chris?
No, I'm going 5.
Okay, fair enough. Right then, who's the first ever Argyle player you fell in love with, please? Chris, thinking way back to when you were a little nipper. You remember who it was?
Well, I started going Argyle in '66, but one of the first players that I really liked, apart from Paul Mariner in the '70s, was a silky player called David Burnside. And he was with us 1968 to 71. He had 130 appearances for us with 17 goals. He was a ball juggler of extraordinary skills. He was absolutely superb. He used to run past people juggling the ball. And I loved that. Absolutely brilliant. You don't see that now. And he actually won a national newspaper competition for the most consecutive headers for any footballer at that time. He managed 495 keepy uppies with his head.
Brilliant.
So what a player. David Burnside.
Excellent. Reese?
Well, my parents always used to tell me that I would get a restraining order from him. So the player, I've had a few. So when I was young, I had Jason Bent. For some reason, absolutely loved him. Got his socks, sponsored his socks, everything like that. Paul Wharton, who didn't love Paul Wharton as a kid. But then, for some reason, it was Graham Carey, and my parents always said I would have a restraining order. How much I loved him.
Brilliant. You ever met him?
No, weirdly not. No, I'd
Okay.
never met him. I've met the other two, but I never met him.
Okay. Let us know in the
Probably
comments,
for the
please.
best, to be honest.
Yeah. Who's the first ever Argyle player that you fell in love with as a player? As a fan. And if you've ever had a lone player break your heart as well, we're interested in some of these stories for next week as well. Who broke your heart the most when they decided to move on? Let us know in the comments. Right, I'm going to leave you two this week to have a good long discussion about who gets in the Argyle A to Z for the letter O. Now, they're allowed to talk about overhead kicks, offside goals, or any player that begins with O. Let you have a proper debate about it. I will see you, of course, after the Blackpool result. And, of course, next week we're on to letter P. And P is for penalties. Who is the best ever penalty taker that you've seen in an Argyle shirt? And what was the most important penalty that you saw an Argyle player score? So more on that next week. I will bid you adieu. Chris, here's Chris and Reese.
Can we just quickly, before you go, can we also just wish Argyle a happy 1-year anniversary of beating Liverpool?
Of course, yeah. This weekend, who can forget? What a famous day that was.
Next week, the penalty.
yeah, absolutely. Right, you two, have a good debate about O. Thank you very much for watching. Here comes our A to Z. What we'll get in this week.
Okay, Reese, I'm going to come out with 2 not worthy of mention, or better and Obafemi. And the one that is worthy of mention was, strangely enough, it was before your time. Wayne.
I've looked at the list. There aren't many for me.
Wayne O'Sullivan. 97 appearances. We got him from Cardiff, August 1999 to April 2001. He scored 3 goals. He was actually player of the season for us in 2001. He was offered a contract because he had a great season, but he chose to go to Australia, and he went over there and he stayed over there playing for numerous teams in Australia. But for me, Wayne O'Sullivan.
Well, I actually had to think out of the box completely, because all the O's, I think between them, have played like 20 games in my lifetime. So I couldn't really go for one of them because all of them have been fairly useless, or Oseni, who's in the team now. So I actually looked up how many goals we have had scored for us by an opposition player. to an own goal. And since I started going Argyle in 2003, 2004 season, we've had 19 goals scored for us as an own goal. Literally, I've got to that point now where I'm scraping the barrel that I'm looking at what they are. But do you have any overhead kicks or anything that you
No, hopefully that own goal player can make a reappearance.
Yeah,
We need him at the moment.
yeah. No, I always the overhead kick at the Joe Edwards against Sheffield Wednesday a number of years ago now. I think we beat them 3-1, 4-1, whatever it was. And it was sort of that season when they came down and they were the big dogs and they came to us and no one was really expecting massive much for us that year. And then we went and did that, and it was sort of us announcing ourselves that we were in a promotion race, and yeah, absolutely massive result, wasn't it? It was a brilliant overhead kick from him. I think it was probably the best goal he's ever scored in his life.
Absolutely. I prefer your own goals to my Wayne O'Sullivan 3 goals. I think 19 own goals wins that one, doesn't it?
It does just a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That is in what 24 years.
That doesn't matter.
It's more goals than most of our attackers have scored in their career. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, very much so. Let's hope we can bomb a few on Saturday up at Blackpool.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed.
I'll be up there. Seasiders, here we come.
Enjoy your trip, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks very much. See you next week.
Catch you later.